have a problem, said our directions to the employees, their train says, don't try to put the fire out. Get out of the building and save your butt, because what's in here is gonna blow up and the fire department ain't gonna fix it, you know? So your thing is get out, by the time and they said, well, you know, when the bunker blew up there, there's nothing to do there but just try to control the thing, and the forestry commission had sent some bulldozers out there to cut a fire lane around the issue. So anyway, he said, you know, everybody's got a different need, and the one that I'm a little surprised about that I can say probably needs something we could have more than the industry is SAU Tech.
Yes, that's another thing.
There's a different need. They've got people. It's not the buildings necessarily, but the people that need something. But I don't think we ought to be running out there for car crashes and stuff like that, unless somebody needs the jaws of life or something. But a lot of that stuff, some of those calls you were making, I'm thinking that shouldn't be
You've
us.
got 3 state properties out there, Alita, Arkansas Fire Academy, and SAU Tech are all, the lands and everything is owned by the state. But we get calls out there by fire marshal's offices, you mind running out there inspecting this for them? You mind doing this?
I can't understand, like say, for the smoke detector at SAU, why wouldn't they call the fire academy? Good Lord, do they not have somebody that
Your
would?
fire academy camp, their teaching facility, and that makes sense. What you're saying makes sense to run a fire station out of a fire academy. It makes sense to house it, do it there, and everything, but since they're an educational, it's a no. You know, and now you've got a new dorm out there.
Well, does the fire station kind of out there behind, okay, I was out in the area today, there's a fire station out there. Is that, maybe I'm thinking of the fire, I didn't think it was the fire academy. The fire academy's dorms, it was near there, but I was thinking it was kind of awful, looks like 2 bays.
Oh,
Pretty nice.
there's a fire station, it's nice equipment, nice everything.
Looks right.
Are there instructors there that are able to put out fires and do everything? Yeah, totally are.
That's not really a fire station, it said in there.
Are they gonna respond to a fire over there and do it?
Right, that's not really an operational fire station.
No, they're not gonna.
Well, we had, so for background, so we did have in 2014, which I guess was before the last amendment, the Aerojet wanted to make changes and, wanted to add language to the contract, and we wrote back and said, you know, that would substantively change the nature of the agreement, we would not be signing. So I see where they are not paying that, so I think they would not, agree to change it, but what they were asking for was to say that we would be liable for the work that we did out there, and that they would be put on our insurance as part of the property we were defending. And we said, well, that's making Aerojet, you know, like City of Camden property. The whole deal with these outside fire agreements, as I said, is you're authorized to have them, but it's like, if we can get there, if we're not already having a fire in Camden, we get there, the state statute says, you know, our personnel are not liable, we can't be sued for it, and our people, you know, so I mean, they wanted to basically remove all the specific requirements, and we said, no, we're not going to, and I take it they're not paying that.
For whatever it's worth, for their particular company, they've certainly made a lot of changes out there since 2014.
Well, that's true too. That's true too.
Personnel and
that's right.
total people.
But that's kind of this. That's what I think this tension is I guess, you know, in their minds, I think what they're saying is, well, we've got to pay that kind of money. We want to have the city of Camden on the hook for providing that protection. And what I have said in the past, we're not on the hook for providing the protection. We're willing to say, we'll come here if we can, but that's kind of that tension, and it sounds like to me part of it, as I said, is they're getting this benefit. I'm not sure that when they turn in that piece of paper, it sounds like to me the auditors or the insurers or somebody, if they're looking at that thinking, oh, this is coverage for all of Lockheed Martin, and it's ISO 2 rating, and so you're covered. In my mind, I would say, no, that's not what they had.
They just didn't read the contract close enough, but that's what they're hoping. The auditor's just gonna glance at it and say, oh, there's.
Right, and that's the tension, isn't with us, but the tension is with them, if they're getting that kind of benefit.
Well, let me draw back to something you mentioned a minute ago that really gets down to is a lot of them are doing this is to pay us something or pretend they're paying us something and saving money on their insurance. Now, I don't know if all of them are, but some of them probably are. But that's no difference from the outside fire contracts we have with individuals in our 5-mile range. My mother and dad, everybody I grew up with, my brother, they live out there, they got one of them. They're not as interested in saving the house as they are saving money.
Right.
So,
Right.
they would put in a fire department. But it's like the neighbor that you helping the old lady out next door for years and years, she's a widow, and you mow her yard, and then her son moves in and lives for a while, you mow it a little while longer, she dies, and you say, hey, I'm not helping you, you're a grown man, whatever. But, well, I would've bought a lawnmower a long time ago if you just quit mowing it.
Yeah.
And let me know, I'm gonna let you mow the yard. And it's almost like that situation, as long as we don't present them and say, hey, we don't quite think this is really a fair deal, because it costs a lot to keep the fire department going. And if
But
you
we're
have
gonna do that
access-
anyway.
Yeah,
That's
we are.
regardless.
We are.
If Calhoun
I agree.
County wasn't even there,
Yeah,
it's not changing anything we're doing here. And for I'm gonna say the limited runs we got there, it's not costing us, or shouldn't be costing us any extra if you don't have to go, if you quit going on the
if it was in the
ambulance
city,
chases.
if it was in the county, it wouldn't bother me near as much. And this is just my personal opinion.
Yeah.
You can take this same situation, go down into Texas, two counties, Johnson County, Tarrant County, whatever, next door, or whatever. You got a big industrial thing right here. You know what the state does? Split the property tax money. The services are coming out of this county, the property county line, they get the property tax money. But see, all that property tax money, the tax assessor, it goes to.
But the difference there, that comes back to that, I would not want the property tax money for exactly that point. I mean, I think if they call tomorrow and say, okay, guys, we're gonna shift over all that property tax money for fire protection.
Oh, no.
I would, well, no, we don't want it, because then we are on the hook.
No, I
So-
get
So
that.
that's kind of the,
I get that. It just-
but I agree that there's, and I guess, so if they have, so under the fire agreement, they're supposed to have an insurance policy. We were right, they're supposed to say, okay, they got an insurance policy for $3,000 or whatever, and then, they gotta be a member of some local fire membership, which I guess would be a town county, and then for the actual expenses, so we kinda got the millions of dollars expense just to keep the fire department going, and then we have the actual expense for when we go out there.
Right.
So the actual expense, we get to recover.
Yes.
We did, how's that figured or charged?
Does that work? Yeah.
The charge, it's in there, $800. Yeah,
Per
yeah.
truck.
It's in the ordinance and listed.
And so does that work? I guess, Michael, does that work? Could we say they're supposed to have insurance, they're supposed to be a member of the local, fire district,
Yes.
and they get a reimbursement for the cost? So I guess, does that happen, or is that just like, well, it's in writing, but we don't really get paid
It's almost
back?
like a trademark or something too, in a way, because can I use your name as a lawyer just whenever I want
Right.
to, put it on whatever I want
Right.
to put it on,
Right.
and it covers me.
Right.
The sticker to me is, they're not in Washita County, and we're county oriented, we're set up by county, you got an OEM, Office of Emergency Services over here, that is over the county, that's tied in with Adam, and everything is county oriented. Where are they in this mix?
Com amps, the radios?
Yeah, where are they
Hampton,
at?
I assume that Hampton has a fire department of some
Yeah,
kind.
they've got a fire department.
So, we could have a mutual aid agreement with them, I would presume, our county, your.
I mean, they've got that option to request mutual aid from us, no different than El Dorado Magnolia.
Even without a written.
Without anything written. Yeah, that's open. They call up here and ask for it, and the fire chief turns around and says, I can send somebody, I can afford to send somebody down there.
I guess we would still seek reimbursement. Under those agreements, or just under mutual aid, we still seek reimbursement. It's just not a set amount. What do we do if we don't have?
You could seek it, I don't know if you'll get it.
I was gonna ask, I'm looking at these calls, these SAU to the dorms, SAU public service, SAU dorms. Did SAU pay us for running out there?
No,
Okay, did we send them a bill?
no, sir, it's been my understanding ever since I've been here that the state will not be charged and will not be sending anything. You know, a good example of something here is the school. I know we no longer do it, but we charge the school, our own school system inside the city of Camden, for resource officers. They pay the city for resource officers for years, and they're in the city. So I don't see, we didn't give them a free ride,
Right.
and it's just hard to,
So what about like, so on these calls for like the false alarm, so would that be considered, so it's a private place, and we get called out there to Highland Industrial or Lockheed Martin, like, when we get called for there, we can send a bill.
Lockheed Martin,
Yeah.
not going. Lockheed doesn't have a contract.
Well, there's one out here, fire extinguisher demonstration to Lockheed, but
That's why they listed on the thing. Now, what they did and who they did it through and what the place through SAU tied in with some kind of workforce or, not workforce, what they call the thing they do. leadership
Okay,
can't,
right,
maybe
right,
kind of something like
okay,
that. I just
okay.
pulled the information
Yeah.
straight off the report and whatever.
So, but one of the companies that is paying the contract, I mean, so we go out there, we get called by Tim Jordan Construction, he's on the contract. We get an alarm to go out, we go out there and false alarm or whatever, we still do the same, we send someone out there, minimum of an hour charge, or we send them bill, they file payment. But SAU don't do, they don't have a contract.
They have,
Okay, I don't know.
SAU puts no funds in, has never been charged.
Right.
There's always been a standing understanding going back to Chief Seat when I first got here and on the line, that the state was not charged.
And if they relied on mutual aid with Hampton, they would say, okay, they're coming out to Hampton, and Hampton says, oh man, this is a big fire, we're gonna request Camden's help by mutual aid, then we're still gonna go.
If we can.
If we can,
afford to send
if we can,
somebody, yeah.
which is the same under the agreement.
Yeah.
And then we get out there, and then, as far as getting reimbursed for that, we don't have a contract that says $800 an hour, we would say we spent time, and surely
We would have to
surely
get
we
with
spent
them
time.
if they're gonna charge probably, because we have nothing in writing. And
Right.
we provided a mutual aid service to Caney Creek or to, Locust Valley.
The only thing, yeah, and what the state, that may be different, beyond the city limits, so it kind of talks about in the state law, a little rough place, about, that we have 90 days to seek rent compensation from an owner, we don't get paid within 90 days,
And there's a set
then,
amount.
then the county, but it says like an amount not to exceed $200.
Right,
So,
right,
I mean,
it's a set amount.
so like a car fire out towards Bearden, we send a unit out there for some reason, mutual aid, we're going to Bearden, it's all the county, we're just going to hell.
We don't charge.
We just don't charge. Okay.
No different than,
Like the 278 fire, what about that the big explosion, the truck explosion?
no, there's no charge.
Right, so there was no charge in
There's
any,
no fire district that we have an agreement with already.
right,
No different, the whole downtown goes to burn,
right.
and we call it
Oh,
Stevens,
yeah,
Chester,
right.
Beard, everybody, they're all coming, and none of them are charging nothing. Because they're county members inside the county, and we have an agreement amongst the county members.
And, but, and the agreement's just we're gonna help each other if we can, but no reimbursement. It's just we're all helping each other out to where we can.
No different, I've had 2 fires at, Anthony Sawmill. Good ones,
Right, big fire.
no charge.
In Hampton.
Huh?
In Hampton, somewhere?
No,
Beard,
Oh, the
okay,
Beard
it's
song.
Marshall County, it's Marshall County.
Well, and I guess because that's in the county, you're saying you're okay with that, 'cause that's in the county. But as far as cost wise, yeah, those are big fires, that you're going outside the city to Bearden and spending
Hours.
resources, hours, trucks, that's a big fire. Dealers are being outside the county.
And that's, to me,
Sounds
that's,
like
that's a whole new ballgame once you cross the county.
Because we got Anthony, we got the Anthony Mill, and that's like Highland, I guess, when it's business, Bearden probably comes out first, and they
And
come
they
out with
requested mutual aid.
I guess like I say, and the needs are disparate out there between the bunkers, that they don't need fire out there. Yeah,
crowd control,
Yeah.
get some out of the way.
yeah, just, I mean, if they blow, they blow. You won't get out, if a fire's in there, you won't get there in time to stop it from blowing on the munitions they got there. Now, Lockheed's got equipment, machinery, they probably want to keep, but, those people that are making gunpowder, there again, just get out of the building and save yourself.
It's almost like
So-
just say, hey, there's we're clear, no
Right.
contract, don't have contracts. If it's bad enough, get with your 2
Right.
volunteer fire departments, tell them we will come help
Right.
you, we will come.
Yeah,
help.
and I'm
No
kind of thinking,
contracts.
we need to
Because we're
try
not
to
talking
send
about
them a
that much
letter.
money.
Now, if the ones that really need our support, that want to pay a reasonable price for having it, that they need it for their insurance, or they need it for whatever, if we send out letters and saying, hey, it's our intention, or we're considering, one or the other, send them letters saying, we're considering not having outside fire contracts outside of Washita County. It's complicated, it's expensive, yada, yada, yada. Say, now, if you have some special need, that you, come see us and tell us what it is. And if we had enough of them that wanted to do that, you know, some of them that need
I
those
think if you
letters.
cancel it and said it wasn't gonna be done, I think you would start getting some phone calls.
Well, that's
Probably. At
kind of
certain
what I'm
times of the
thinking is,
year, I
and
think you will.
they'll tell you what to do, because I had one guy that I was talking to, he said, well, I think it's silly that your contract says you're gonna charge by the employee. He said, you can have 500,000 square feet out there that needs protected, and 3 employees that run forklifts, he said, that's stupid.
And
That's
you
right.
wanna
I
get
said,
even
well,
crazier?
it's hard to get one size
Might be a
fits
better
all.
way, that's right, but, and we
The
can
contract
tweak that.
With the hospital
Yeah.
for EMS is not based off people, it's based off square footage, or it was.
And
Right,
that can be
opposite.
done, but then they've got, you know, there again, the guy was telling me, said,
We
well,
can tweak
you know,
it.
we've got this many things that have explosives, and this much building that's administrative,
And you get back to the situation here, there's human error involved, it's no different, after the explosion on 278, stuff came from El Dorado Chemical. Had a chemist call me from El Dorado Chemical, that I know very well. How did it explode? It's not supposed to explode, it ain't gonna
That's right, it
explode.
doesn't explode.
I said, well, all I can tell you is explode, go up there and look at the hole in the ground.
Right.
You
So
didn't-
they
you
can go
didn't
out
hear it?
there and you can pull up, and the guy said, oh, go on down there and fight that fire down there in that little building, down there, don't worry about it, whatever. And you go down there and it blows up. Yeah.
so,
I think Ellie mentioned a reasonable rate. How do we establish a reasonable rate? Or what is a reasonable rate?
I just threw something in here for conversation, that there's 3 guys that are going out there, they have 3 people 24/7 that are here available, unless we just flat say, no, they're not coming. And that is the equivalent of 9 people on this department, and that's how those figures came in. And that was the lowest personnel in those ranks, to put those figures together. I don't know, you could look, I have looked around at something similar to try to have something to gauge off of.
Well, Chief, have you checked with other, departments in other counties, cities that may have a similar situation as ours with the industrial park to kind of get a baseline?
I haven't, because I didn't know if anybody has a similar situation
Well,
across
what
the county line.
what would Magnolia have with
Yeah.
alcohol?
I can check to see what they have with Alma. I don't know what they have with Alma, but there again, get back to the county thing. I don't know, that's a legal jurisdictional thing.
But
But-
if they, whether they're in the county or out of the county, if they got a special service contract, it would give us something to look at. And maybe they're just saying, well, it's so important to us that we're gonna cover it anyway, no
I
charge.
think what works for them out there is when they put their address on people, these papers can't be Arkansas.
Right.
But Chief,
Can't be fire department.
Chief, I'm not saying that, our situation may be unique, but we got to have something as a baseline. Like, I think you mentioned, Crossett, Albemarle, maybe we get all those together and try to figure.
Maybe one, I don't,
That's 4 that I say.
Jacksonville,
Huh?
Air Force Base.
Okay.
I know going to school, some of them guys in the chiefs and chief officers school, that we discussed them going over onto the Air Force Base to fight structure fires. So them guys are a heck of aircraft firefighters. They can't fight structure fires for nothing. And they go in there, so I don't know, maybe they have a contract with Jacksonville,
Right.
up there with the Air Force, I don't know.
And we can kind of massage it to fit our particular need, if there's some elements of it, or
I could-
cherry pick different ones and.
I could send out maybe a questionnaire.
Do you think from, like, I guess I'll say, a professional opinion from the fire safety standpoint, you kind of got the county as a jurisdictional line, which to me makes sense, I like that, or I mean, to me, it's kind of like, yeah, everything set up, I'd like to see everything all set up, the school district thought to match the county.
Oh, yeah.
To me, it doesn't make any sense that my representative comes around the backside and goes all the way, I mean, it's just that, all that area is just insane. So, I see that part, but I guess you got some counties are large, physically, some are small. So I guess time frame wise, at some point, I mean, we couldn't do one with, Verizon. I mean, we would not be entering an agreement, I would think, with Verizon, if they said, we would like you to come here. And, I mean, time wise, I mean, to get to Highland, is that, at some point, isn't it a,
Yeah,
I mean,
it's time to Cross Oil, what's Cross Oil and Smacko one contract with us? I can get to Cross Oil probably as quick as I can get to some places.
and is there a time frame where you would say, well, we can't really do anything because the fire's been, if you call us, by the time we get there, it's too late, like,
It-
is that 15 minutes or 30 minutes? Is there?
Fire size doubles every 60 seconds. But
Fire sign goes.
none of them are alike, they're all different. this is burning now, 2 hours from now, that's burning. Well, they were right close, yeah, but I'm telling you, it's burning
Right.
here now, but now that's burning. So initial response in the incipient stage, when it's small, yes, 3 to 5 minutes is when you need to be there.
And
Before it
that's the
goes to
problem
second
with the
stage.
things
Once
out
it
there
gets
is,
there, it's
what is
done.
their need, or
Right.
what are they trying to save? Is it
Right.
control of brush fire, or
Right.
so many of the buildings?
The real fire, I mean, by the time we got there,
The big fires we had, they store other stuff out there. We had Cooper Tire fire out there, it lasted for quite a while. They had a fire on a rail car out there that lasted quite a while. I've been to 3 different explosions out there, some with deaths, some not with
so we were
deaths.
able to do good once we got there.
Oh, yeah. Oh, they were out there on that tire fire for a couple days, or a day and a half, 2 days. I think it was.
Rubber.
And you don't know what all's stored out there. You literally don't know what's stored out there.
Changing the subject, man, on the residential side, I see that most people are paying just a flat rate, $300.
Yeah,
How did that, how did y'all?
it's been that way, $300.
I remember it well.
Okay.
It came up to quite a debate back there, and gosh, dog, it may have been close to 20 years ago. But anyway, it was $100 for years and years, and there again, it got to where it was ridiculous, because there were people that were 10 miles out of town. You couldn't get, the fire department couldn't get their trucks down a driveway, and they had no fire plug. But they were paying that $100 because they were saving $200 on their insurance.
Right.
So, we
So it's
said,
been 300 since at least 98.
that sounds about right.
So 98, it went to $300.
Yeah. And I remember some guys chewing on me about that. Boy, you're gonna be sorry. I said, no. I said, we double the rates, so we get just as much money if we lose half the customers. We broke even. And so,
Yeah.
kind of aggravated him. But anyway,
Well, was there a formula, or did we just decide to,
just,
random, just?
you know, you don't have any calls on it.
Well, we get abused from
Yeah.
time to time,
Oh.
and there, we try to keep an eye on it, but there again, your county departments, when you try to help another county department, and when you get it, you remind the
These are
person,
people that
hey,
they have to live within 5
Y'all need to
miles
show
of the
up.
city limits.
Gotta have a fire hydrant.
Gotta have a fire hydrant and a
Gotta
decent
belong-
driveway.
belong to another business.
we go out there, it's usually me that goes out there and says, yes, we can get a fire truck in here. Yes, it's in 1,100 feet to fire hydrant, and it's within 5 miles of the city, be sure it meets all the requirements. Now, like you said, the setting the price, what it is, you know, it's, at some point, some people are gonna want it to save their house regardless. Some people are not caring about it, they just saving on their insurance, and that's the reason for it. And I understand that, I would do the same thing. You know, if you put it on up there at $500-600 or something like that, I think you will have very few, but all.
Isn't Highland, so where's Highland compared to that 5 miles now?
Oh, it's, I don't.
I'm gonna say they're 15 miles
Oh,
out,
really?
at least.
Oh, yeah. The Highland is,
So if we
is
just
like a
make- so if
special
you
part of the ordinance.
Right, that's what I'm saying. If the ordinance was just changed to say you must be within 5 miles, period, you would be taking Highland out.
Oh, yeah.
But you would not be specifically, but I mean, yeah, you just applied the same rule and said.
Yeah, that's a residential deal.
Right.
on that. And I guess what Rogers Lumber would kind of fit in that, well, he would be in the special part, because he's in the county, but
Yeah,
he's
they have
outside of 5
fire district
miles.
bonds or requests, but he always pays.
Right.
I mean, you know, he could just as easily not pay, but there may be some insurance savings there too,
Well,
I'm sure.
he'd probably want to save his
Yes,
lumber.
yes.
You know, he's got that stuff stacked up out there, yeah.
You know, he always pays, Woodfield always pays, Victory paid this time, they haven't in the past. They're right on the city limit, so we've got them used over that over the years every now and then.
And I guess it talks,
They're paying.
it talks about on, in one of them, that to have the agreement with the other district, you know, or other city, they gotta have $5,000 worth of equipment. Now, am I correct, is any department gonna have $5,000, because $5,000 would be just a truck.
Yeah, if they just had a truck, so he probably.
Do all the rural fire departments have $5,000 worth of equipment? So really, that's not, there ain't any.
Some of these rural departments probably impress you on some of the.
Right, and everyone's got 5,000, because that's just turnouts and maybe a truck.
Yeah.
That really isn't a limitation.
I'm,
Go ahead. No, go
Well,
ahead, change.
I was just gonna say, I think we need to call on SAU, Mr. Morrison out there, this long-standing thing of Camden's at their beck and call, that he ought to try to work something out with the state to say that the fire academy could do something,
And I
get off.
think that would be my fault, I need to look at that, because it's possible, I mean, it's probably something that says the state doesn't pay. But
If-
I don't know why, I wasn't aware of that, I had never
Well, it's
researched
whether
it.
they pay or
so-
not, you've got, there again, if your response time is in the first 5 minutes, and they're across the street, someone grab a fire extinguisher
Right.
and go do something.
What would seem to make sense from a common sense standpoint, looking at it, I understand the educational part of it was, but you've got a fully functioning fire department there. If the state could intervene in some way and say, hey, we're gonna hire firemen, there are gonna be firemen sitting right here in the station, man, the station.
At the training academy.
Separated from, they save the cost of the station, they save
Right.
the cost of the trucks, they could help with the training
Right.
some. But they could also do contracts and be right there within the area and respond to the dorms. That's a common sense thing.
Yeah, and it's just the dorm, I'm trying to think of, a smoke detector's going off, well, gosh, they could walk across the street and check on that instead of us running a expensive truck out
And
there.
that's, and so SAU calls, like he's saying, for smoke detector. that-
Well, if a fire alarm goes on, they
Fire
have to
alarm.
check, they don't wait, I mean, you got this
That's true.
response thing.
Okay.
Now, they may get on the radio and turn you around,
And
and
it
say,
doesn't-
hey, we checked it out, it's
And it
nothing
doesn't
to
go
worry
through the,
about.
doesn't go through the local, fire district.
Whoop.
Or you,
No,
like SAU,
no,
what about SAU, the dorm wall goes off,
They're
that's,
calling
that's
it
coming to,
It's coming to
It's
Camden.
just what they're trained to do, but, you know, it doesn't.
Yes,
be that way.
Somewhat slightly off. You got 3 documents here. You got a general ledger, which has a total, if I'm looking at it, 26 and change. Then you got the separate where you have the industrial and I guess the home. Now, when I add these two up, I get something like 23 and change.
yeah.
And this is 26. Did I miss something? Or am I doing something
Go
right?
back, look, I think they took one on the back, they took out $260 something. I don't know if that person didn't pay, where did I see that?
And I get a difference of 27. I get a
You
difference.
probably didn't have a chance.
I get a difference of 27.63 in the two.
That was Tommy Green, I think.
Huh?
Tommy Green's was prorated, they only paid like $37.
That's what it was. That's what it was.
Because they were moving out, so they were only gonna be there like 2 months or
Okay.
something.
So in essence, the general ledger is the master, the 26 is correct? Okay.
All right, are there is there any more discussion tonight about that? I think to be fair, I think we all know that it should probably cost something. I think the question would be exactly what that is, and if you would have, by the time we do this particular one, if we would have had those discussions, tonight I spoke with with Alderman Moore before I came, and he's interested in whatever your numbers are, and he's interested in that. But so am I, and if you do answer some of those, go back and do a little bit more of that research. I'm ready to do it, because we have to do it earlier this year if we plan not to get caught by that date, so.
Don't put pressure on them either, at the same
and if
time.
we didn't do Highland though, so really we're talking only 7,500 high for what we're getting right now. For the 5 business, we get 5 businesses.
82.44 or 80 something, yeah, that's it. I mean, $8,000, that's
Even if you
not
just said we're not doing
and
Highland.
again,
Right. Robbie Buzzard in terms of budget, if
Yeah.
you just said we're not doing Highland anymore, we're not doing outside the county, we'd be losing $8,000.
and probably get phone
Well, you
calls.
know.
Probably get some phone
Oh,
calls.
well, that's right, but I mean, you know.
Well, we need to generate some phone calls.
Yes, I got you.
They either need what we have to offer, or they don't.
Yeah, I agree.
And us trying to tell them they need us,
$8,000
I think is the wrong way.
That's real money, but that's
And
not, you know,
I'm-
not if it's putting that much stress and that much pressure on the department, and it's a concern to the chief that we're having to do all this, you know, devaluing the department.
If-
For $8,000.
In a
it's
$2
not
million
worth- it's not worth
budget,
us doing it.
in a $2 million
Right.
budget, that's just not.
$8,000 is not.
But I think we ought to let them know and say, hey, if they need our services, tell us what it is you need, and let's see if we can work out a fair price for them out there. But
We choose to sign up for the dangers of the job and take those chances, you know. But it would be hard to tell a wife that her husband died in an explosion out of there outside of Washita County in another county for $8,000 a year. For any amount of money, but that would even be more of a slap in the face that, you know, hey, he went out there because we needed $8,000.
But
Because if the only thing they need is for us to respond if it's real bad, well, that could potentially be there if they need it. They just want to find
Well,
all
we're
the
still
right
getting, what's gonna
protocols.
happen, we would still get called out there, we would just come under mutual aid from the local district, we come out there, the firefighter's still gonna end up in an untimely demise,
Some of the
but we don't have a
difference would
contract,
be
don't get paid.
those firefighters, because that call has to come from those firemen, and usually the chiefs,
Okay.
they would have to be there on scene. We've been out there a bunch when we're there and nobody else is there.
Right, okay.
Several times when it's
Yeah.
just us.
I was gonna suggest, if we're, whatever we do on this thing, we ought to make it where the Hampton Fire Department is the first call, not us. And that is,
Right.
now, I don't, and I'm thinking, the General Dynamics is, I think they're not even in Highland, or they may have a bunker in Highland, but their facilities are actually outside of the Highland, footprint. And they're right there practically at Hampton, or Woodbury, or whatever. And so how far is it from the Hampton thing back to the main, enterprise of the industries, Lockheed Martin, Aerojet?
It's a ways,
Is it farther
they would
than?
be a whole lot closer to Canyon Creek and the fire department than the rest of the whole area.
Okay.
I mean,
So, I mean, would they be closer than you are?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they,
Yeah.
well, I was thinking,
Yeah.
but I wasn't sure. Okay. So,
And it may just be a matter of telling the county, they have to get the county judge, the OEM director or whatever, say, hey, y'all need to figure out how y'all can get involved in this. And we're not out there for a day and a half and looking around, and Camden is the only ones that have been here for a day and a half. And we're not even, I understand about a contract, but it's your jurisdiction.
What's the biggest, so you got, so the China Fire Station at the academy, but not really a functional.
Oh, yeah, it's a functional fire station.
Well, but I mean, it's not, it doesn't respond to fire.
It has all the equipment and everything.
Right,
No,
it looks good, we can drive by.
they're not
Fire.
staffed to respond.
Right, and then where's the
They're
next fire?
staffed to teach.
Yeah, and then where's the next fire station? Is Hampton the only one?
Closest is Canyon Creek on the way to Hampton.
And what does that have? Can't shoot that up.
It's a
That
metal
ain't
building,
truck?
they got, 2, 3 trucks off it.
That's right,
And what about East?
that's right.
Keep my feet.
What
East
is
Camden,
East
East
Camden?
Camden's gonna be the closest.
Is East Camden closest?
Oh, yeah.
You still got the county line division problem,
Right.
but that's what I'm wondering, like, if East Camden wanted to
Oh.
step up, and East Camden said that they wanted an agreement with Highland, and you're gonna buy us 3 men, and you're gonna put up a new thing, or something like that, I guess, is East Camden, how many trucks, East Camden's is bigger than Canyon Creek?
Oh, yeah, they've got some nice
So
trucks out there. You know, if they wanted to fund.
Are they the closest besides the fire academy?
For this side, it's according to where you wanna get.
Well,
Fire academy would be
okay.
over there, it's according to what area you
Right.
wanna come from. you know.
They're closer to
Pretty
Camden,
close,
though.
Pretty close,
Yeah.
a little closer than Hampton.
On this side.
Right, on this side.
Canyon Creek would be on some of that from the other side over where NTS and all that is over there.
And where's, is there one, we don't have, there's not another fire academy in the state, is there? That's the only one.
No. You've got Rogers and up there in the northwest, they do some of their own, right there, Little Rock has their own, that they do a lot of stuff. Now, sometimes they'll send guys down here, North Little Rock will. It's according to how full they
What
are.
kind of review is, why do they not, I mean, that must be the one I saw when I was out there, it's a big, huge, beautiful station. I thought this was a huge station out here, and it looked like a fire station, says fire station, says fire department, says trucks. It's kind of odd, it's, yeah.
It's got all the window dressings,
Right,
just,
yeah.
Just need some bodies.
they don't have firefighters, they have fire teachers.
Yeah.
Why doesn't SAU have police Camden?
We've spoiled,
Well, and part of that is,
it's like the yard mowing thing, you
I
know.
don't know how the state's insurance works. Maybe there's some plays in that, I don't know. And if they're using.
I can look at that part, trying to find out if they can use it, especially on, that ought to be, that's just a local volunteer fire district, now they do the inspections that you're talking about, that's a normal small call for SAU, as far as you know?
I don't know what their training is. If they would take the classes and learn it, they could.
Right.
I don't know that they have anybody that's qualified. They could go do it, but they got credentials to back up what they just did, or you just walk through there and.
Right. What about, what's Hampton, I hate to sound regular, so what's Hampton's fire department compared to, the rest of everything is small out there, but Hampton certainly not huge.
I don't think we'll have a difficult time selling ourselves because of the certifications and the ISO rating. I think we'll do fine. I just want to make sure that the numbers, I want to make sure that the numbers are fair for both sides. And so if you go back and do this, and look at that, just look at, maybe it's not in another county, but if the numbers are comparable to, even if it's in the same county, if they're doing the same service, then at least we can have that to throw off of when we get ready to make a decision. Because we can amend the number,
Yes, sir.
but we need to at least give them time too to make a decision before September, because that will allow them to be able to court another service and say yes or no to us. But we need to get off the fence real soon.
All right, let me clarify and be sure I've got an understanding here. So I'm basically, what Alderman McDonald suggested is checking with some others around in the area, in the state, and get some ideas and see what's out here as far as contracts, what they do. I can make up a questionnaire and send it out to them, and they can answer it and send it back to them.
Humor me by also checking on the Lockheed in Lufkin or in Texas. Check
But
on.
they're gonna have a paid fire department.
Oh, they have
on
on staff.
site,
Okay.
Right, and some of that is because of aircraft, they're dealing with the jets and everything else, and I know that,
Okay.
but they've got a huge fire department.
Okay. Well, find something comparable, even whether it's in the county or out of the
Look
county.
across the country, something comparable to an entity or industrial park that exists like this. I've been spent hours on computers looking for the last few years. I hadn't found anything. Not like this. So,
And did you say that one of these out there has a fire brigade at Highland?
Aerojet.
Aerojet. And Highland Park doesn't have something similar to that. So is Aerojet the only one?
That's the only one I'm aware of.
And what do you mean by that fire brigade? What does that entail?
I've seen a fire truck that they had, and I've heard from
Somebody stabbing
people that even have spouses that work out there that they do have a fire.
Does that mean like it's a paid person that's there?
Well,
Or
it's gonna be no problem,
different
no
from volunteer,
different
still a
laws.
volunteer?
IP or anywhere else, hey, we work, this is my job, but I'm also on the fire brigade.
Okay, so that's more like a volunteer,
Yeah,
not
my
a
son worked at
staff.
Albemarle, he was
Right.
on the fire brigade. He
Right.
went to Texas A&M Fire School and everything, but his job was working right there. at the
Not a
building
staff
plant.
paid fire.
But he knew how to work a fire extinguisher.
Right,
Right.
all right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Interim Chief Nash. And as a just extra information, on May 7th we'll begin our interviews. We're going to do our interviews on that day for that position, so May 7th. Now we will turn our attention to none other than our city clerk, Mrs. Donna Stewart.
Oh, this is your show. Like the paperwork for it.
Yeah. Y'all know Miss Stewart does some of the heavy lifting for us.
I'm taking it easy on everybody. There's not much in the notebook. This is just a start,
Got a starter kit.
but I'm pretty sure at some point you're gonna need a notebook, so.
Thank you.
Oh, I don't have to go around, thanks.
Thank you.
Started with the easy stuff. But I really expected more people, if it's just gonna be two, I would've been okay with doing the hard stuff. But, what you got in front of you, I gave you what everybody's current pay is as far as positions. You have the job descriptions for ones I think we should dump and for ones we think we should keep. The ones that I think we should dump are not in the notebook because I don't want you to keep them.
I was thinking that's what I thought, yeah, okay.
No, you don't have to add them to the
These are the
notebook.
dumping ones.
Those, I wanted you to be able to see why I think they're pretty frivolous right now.
We don't need a microfilm processor?
Ah,
I had
Yes.
somebody ask me a couple of days ago what microfilm was. So that pretty much confirmed it, that one needs to go. But it had been combined with the, CID secretary a few years ago, but not taken off of anything. So in the job description book, it still has a description for the microfilm process. So I thought it'd be a good time for that one to just be dumped to the side. And have a big note that says, never use it.
You have this wonderful presentation here. Can I start it? Job descriptions and recommendations. This is beautiful. To facilitate organization and communication, the following recommendations are being made to improve the workflow of the city. Modernize certain terms and or positions and ensure that the needs of the citizens are being met. Then she came to this slide, which is first of all, that we no longer need things like a clerk typist, and the microfilm, and of course some of these others, she says we're merging to still meet the needs that we have as a city. Now we're up to add or keep going.
That's, I guess, oh, I didn't include the reception thing in the packet, I'm so sorry.
I got a question, forgive me, but you have, these codes, I guess you call it, like in the police department, you got PN, and let's see, F1, I think that's fire one. What's that PN, and I'm thinking,
I can tell you the police, the P stands for police.
okay, and the
These
EN,
codes have been in existence for, I don't know, 40 years.
I think that's been police non-certified,
okay,
I'm guessing.
I have,
But
I don't know.
That's only a guess.
But,
so,
I jumped in and, we've not had anybody doing this for several years. And I've been trying to figure it out for a while, and I think I'm getting close on stuff. So this past year, when you started asking for job descriptions, and I didn't, but the council in general was asking for job descriptions, I started working on everything. So I don't know what the N stands for, or but the
I bet
he
that looking
said
at,
non-certified.
and looking at the way it's starting, and it goes down to LS3, there it starts.
The L
It would be
stands for labor,
labor.
which is gonna be the public works department.
I guess labor service, the S, perhaps?
Yeah,
Okay.
something like that,
It's just not, I'm just trying to,
yeah.
not trying to put you on the spot, but just trying to,
I'll tell you, I don't know.
okay. This is good, this
It
is
was
good.
fun just trying to get all the numbers caught up after the pay raises
Yeah.
at the first of the year. Because instead of everybody just getting the 2%, it was some people got this, some people got that, so it was fun working on all that.
Right, I just want you, it even says non-sworn. Non-sworn.
Okay.
Are you ready?
So is that all, so on that sheet,
Police
right,
officer
so
sworn.
is that, the demolition specialist is not in this building? Right, that's by the public works.
Demolition specialist will be public works.
And all three, the first three are, is the, what, office manager? Is that here? What is office manager?
It's, the title's been in use with the police department for several years, but it's not on paper anywhere. And
It's like kind of a building supervisor?
And we used it for a position here, and then I realized that it really wasn't an official position anywhere, it's just,
So
being used.
a very simple way that I grasped it was that once a person tops out at that pay, you gotta either change the title or something else. And so,
There's been a lot of title changing over the years, and it gets confusing. Because people wanna continue with the same title for the person to replace them, and they don't have the experience to be able to say that